So how do you get through your sex scenes? Because ma'am, ma'am, you out here, yeah.
In reference to how are we getting through? What do you mean getting through?
Like when you writing them, like how do you like? Because I hear a lot of times when I interview authors or talk to authors, they be like, "My hardest part is writing a sex scene. My hardest, I don't like writing
No, that's not the hardest part.
them."
And I mean, I've written over 70 titles. So am
Mm.
I kind of tired of scenes? Yes, but they're not the hardest part of the book. The hardest part is coming up with new ways or new places to have sex, like the A-hole club.
Oh my god, my favorite fucking series.
That pool table came about because it was like, sis, like what we doing new? Like where we going? Because we done did it in a number of places, and this something has to be different. So
Mm.
the pool table came in. Um, Work husband series. When in book one, when she's upside down with her legs in the air, and he's in Munchtown, like
Oh Lord.
that I saw that one, and then I happened to come across it in a naughty place, and
Mm.
it gave me the real life mechanics for it.
Yeah.
Usually, if I want to know something, I'll figure it out at home, research.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But this little body ain't doing no flipping upside down, so that was one we could not try out. So I saw the mechanics in a naughty place and was like, oh, that can really happen, because my characters come to me and they show me the books like movies. I'm
Mm.
watching the movie to see what's going on, and that was one of the scenes that they showed me, and I was like, really, but how? Okay, but how? And it just so happens that like that same week or something, I came across that particular video and was like, "Oh shit, she's doing it! Ah, she's doing it!" And it was funny because I was driving my husband crazy. I was like, "I need to find that video. I don't know how to find it. I know her name is such and such because I knew the star of the movie.
Mhm.
I knew her particular name." And was like, oh, where the heck is she? And I dug for a few days trying to find that video again so that I could see the mechanics to be able to put it into words. That's one of the hardest things. Knowing what you want to do, but actually picking the right verbiage to describe it. I think
Mm.
a lot of authors get lost in their sex scenes because they're using the wrong adjectives, verbs, and things to give the description of what's going on.
That makes sense. That does make sense. So you have universes, almost like a fantasy. Like high fantasy. They have the different universes and stuff. How do you take from fantasy to bring in these universes so that they that blueprint how fantasy is? Do you take from that to use to build up your universe or no?
I didn't even realize that it would be similar to that. Um, I think it's Theodore Taylor's book who
Oh.
explains she wrote a book for authors. And I believe she explains it in terms of what I do,
Mm-hmm.
writing that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not claiming her intellectual property or anything. I just know that I believe it was Kenya Wright and someone else, another author, explained it. Yo, her book does this and it's dope. Da, 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 da. They were giving it high praise, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, I get what you know. What it was Kenya Wright, and then I don't have my notebook here because I went to a workshop, and there was another author who mentioned it as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but as they described it, she's breaking down how you follow those blueprints from
Mm-hmm.
like if you're gonna take a Disney universe, and if I'm explaining it right, I don't want to keep going because I don't know if I'm explaining it right. This is what I gathered and gleaned from what was being told to me, um,
Right.
and I believe that's what you're asking if I model after, and it's not because I was doing this before I realized what I was doing. Um,
Right.
like I said earlier, I started and we kind of like people be emailing me, hey, can you give me advice? And most of these I think are bots. I don't think you're real people. So if you were real and I didn't answer you, it's because I didn't think you were real. I'm sorry. Um, but people come in, oh, how did you start being an author? And I'm like, I didn't do this. This I did not do. What I did do was my own research and trial and error. Like I jumped
Mm,
over a couple of roofs, broke a couple of arms, and then was like, oh, we're not going to drop at that angle. When we jump, we need to be at 90 degrees and it
mhm.
needs to look like this. You know what I mean? Like I made the mistakes to figure out where I needed to land. And I think that is important because not every author can do what another author does. So
That's right.
your blueprint is your blueprint. And
Right.
if I try to teach you my blueprint, you're A gonna get frustrated, B gonna be angry because you think I'm not giving you what I'm really doing because
Mhm,
it looks alien. If you look
mhm,
at these stuff that it looks foreign and you're gonna be like, that she lying, that is not what she's doing, and it is what she's doing.
mhm.
It may not be within the scope of comprehension of everyone, but
Yeah.
it's what I'm doing. Um
Yeah.
So I don't look at anybody else's blueprint because I get the understanding of not every house can be built at the same skill level or in the same way.
Right.
Like I can give you a set of blueprints. I can take a set of blueprints and we can go to build the same exact house. Now, if you go and buy cheap material and I go to the best store for the best materials, your house is not going to come out looking like my house. It's going to be very different because we chose different materials to get there. And being up until 6 a.m. with swollen feet and going to bed at 6 a.m. when everybody else is just getting up is not for everybody. Like
Yeah.
some of y'all got to get up and go to work or take care of some kids or something. So what I do is not going to help what
Mm,
someone else does. You know what I mean? I'm not being silly.
yeah.
And I'm not trying to lead you astray. I'm just telling you what I do is not going to be what someone else can do. That my model is not someone else's model.
That's facts. So, do you see yourself ever writing a rom com?
Oh, that water just popped in my eye. I I'm thinking through what I have planned, and I actually have something. I have it's a universe within itself. Um,
Mm,
these books, and I'm concerned. The year that I put them in, I actually cushioned them with other contemporaries because they are fantasy.
mm,
And this was initially supposed to be a series written by four authors. Um,
mm,
now all 13 books are now going to be written by me.
mm.
And this is going to be interesting because I'm going to actually write them from four different headspaces. So there is four books per, it's like little worlds inside of a world.
Yeah.
And there are four books per world, and each world is different. So one
Mm,
will have a more rom-com, even though it's sci-fi, it has a
mhm,
rom-com twist. The other one has a thriller suspense um
mm.
twist. Right now my head is so busy with other things I couldn't tell you what the other two are, but there are two other um angles that the other ones come through, and I can't tell you right now. But one of them is rom, and I think that's as close as you're gonna get
Mm.
actual dedicated rom-com for me.
Okay.
Because I put humor in, I laugh at, okay, this is gonna sound bad. I apologize now. But I was in Manhattan during 9/11. Like
Mm,
I watched the plane hit the building from my internship office.
mhm,
I am that person that laughs at funerals because there's actually a word for it. We laugh at inappropriate moments
mhm.
because it's our coping mechanisms. Like that's how I coped with having to walk across that bridge from Manhattan to Brooklyn to get home. Um,
Mm.
I told jokes. So like there, even my most serious books, I have that break state moment where I'm gonna tell a joke and you're gonna laugh even after something really serious happened. Um,
Right.
so I'm not sure that I really need to dive into rom com. I also have not found the cover designer that has nailed rom com covers for me.
Mm.
A particular look I want, and until I can find that illustrator who can nail that look for me without it looking like my 10-year-old nephew did it, then we're not doing
Damn.
that.
Damn.
I'm a very big cover snob. Like I've been asked to do a couple of projects that involved recovering some of my work, and
Mm,
I'm not willing to relinquish that control of
mm,
the covers because there's a certain look that I approve, my husband approves for my work. If we and if it ain't smoking, I ain't doing it. So I haven't found anybody. One cover designer actually blocked me
damn.
because I commissioned her to do a cover, and when she brought me back the sample, I was like, No, that's not what I was looking for." So she blocked me. I was like, "You blocking me for? Do better."
Whoa. Wow.
I felt that to be so unprofessional and weird because I wasn't rude about it. I was just like, No, that's not what I was looking for." And I gave her samples of what I wanted. And this is not it. Like this is not working. So no, I don't wanna.
Damn, blocking people. Okay.
Really
Okay.
weird, really weird.
So, being an author, what has it given you mentally and emotionally? Not even the financial aspect of it, just mentally and emotionally. What has it given you, and why have you continued?
This is how I breathe.
Mm,
This and I hate saying that because I feel like people then try to target what you love to
mm-hmm,
strip it from you, because I feel like more and more people are trying to target me so that I'm not in love with this anymore. But
mm,
the reason why that's never going to work is because this is my purpose. When
mm,
when God created me, when he put the pieces together, this was my destiny. This is
mm-hmm,
what I'm supposed to be doing. Mind you, I started this with $3. So
mm,
anything that you start with $3, you know what the back of your cabinets look like. You leave your job and your husband works at the same job and they let him go after you decide to leave because you weren't comfortable anymore.
mm-hmm,
And you are living off of God's word because that's completely what we were living off of day to
mm,
day. Hey, we owe banks owing me money, sending me checks out the blue. That was like, there's nothing in the cupboards, but hey, here's a check in the mail. You can eat today. I'm showing you what daily bread is. And if you can trust me with this daily bread, I'm gonna get you to a point where I'm gonna put you on your feet, but you gotta trust me. So I
right,
had to trust. And I went through that trust. And then that's when the dream came and we got up and we put the books out. 3 days I was a new look at me prophesying about something else. I was a bestseller within 3 days. Like, dude, no matter what you do, this is me. This is what I do. This is my breath. And it's
mm,
always going to be a thing because it's my ministry. So
mm,
I opened the ministry and thought that that was how God wanted me to do. I was on a prayer cruise praying by myself. I was like, oh, he said, if you show up and nobody's there, pray like there's 1,000 people with you. And that's exactly what I did. And as I did that, they started to come and then they started to donate. And then I had equipment so that I can do podcasts. And I started podcasting. And then it was like, okay, now stop. And I was like, stop. I had already filed for my 50, what is it, C3,
mm-hmm. 501.
and girl went through the first time. You know that don't happen.
No.
Went through the first time. And then God was like, stop. After I got it, after it was in place, I had my board and everything. He was like, that's not what you're going to do. Go back to them books. We went back to the books. Like at first I was like, really? I was hesitant because you said the sex scenes. I'm like, how are we doing this? But we also doing that because I was still in a religious state of mind.
Mm-hmm,
So that had to be broken up from me.
mm-hmm,
And then it was like, okay, now do this. And that's when we did this and it started to pop off. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is where I'm supposed to belong. Like there was a point where I was writing books within a day. No lie.
mm,
No lie. I can name The Star was in a day. Bowlers One was in a day. Um,
mm,
Destiny in a day. That like it hurts now for me to take as long as I do to finish a book because I used to be like this. Yes,
Yeah.
I learn things and I slow down because I'm moving in the craft of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a point where I was just like, it was nothing. We were in our sleep writing these books. Um, so this is my breath. You can't
Mm.
take this away from me because this is how I breathe. And then every single time I have a reader that, man, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional about this, but this was so deep to me. I have a reader who is going through a challenge right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've spoken on and off for years. She emailed me and give me an update on her. Um, and I hadn't spoken to her in a while. She was on my mind heavy. And a few weeks ago, she emailed me to tell me a challenge that she was going through. I'm not going to tell you what that particular challenge is because um, I personally, if I'm going through something, I don't tell anybody because if you know my situation, you're not praying for me to get better. You're praying over that situation. And that may not be the thing I need you to be meditating on. You're only making it
Right.
bigger by being focused on that. So
Right.
she emails me and emails me what's going on with her currently. And my heart just almost dropped out. And when I read the part where she said she was telling me before she told her family, I was like, okay, okay. And I had to sit and think with that for a minute. And I was like, this is my ministry. I'm writing these
Mm-hmm.
books for a purpose because for you to feel you need to tell me before your own family, that means there's a certain level of something that God is pushing through me that y'all need. Like I
Mm-hmm.
write these books for my healing, but I'm not the only one being healed. I'll even take you back to there was another email and the girl told me I saved her life and someday she would tell me how. I read between the lines. Um, like I said, I have soldiers who have messaged me in the middle of battle to let me know that my prayers were keeping them through, my books were keeping them through. And I have a soldier's flag. She sent me her flag while she was over there. Um, because that's the bond I'm building with these books.
Mm-hmm.
When I and I'm not saying that this is a good thing. This is not me giving clout or honor to it, but there was a time in my life where I was suicidal. 9 miscarriages. I bet you can believe that I was at a point where
Yeah.
I was suicidal. Um, and this one time I was really going to go through with it. And Spirit said to me, listen, I have placed you here to help millions. And if you do this now, that means I have to start over.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have time to start over for what your job is.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime someone wants to be catty with me over this business, because this business is catty, anytime someone makes me feel like I need to quit in this, I have to remember this is my purpose. You're doing this for fun. You're doing this because you want clout, you want to be seen. Like I can dip off for years and not be seen and just pump out books and I'm good. So this isn't even over clout or to be liked or to be seen. This is really because I know that there are readers who are going through things who need to be able to have that person to email that's writing that book. Or even when people say, oh, but you could do it without the sex, but nobody's listening to without the sex. You need to find God somewhere where you're not expecting to find him. And that's
Mm-hmm.
my books. So that's what keeps me going, keeps me writing, keeps me motivated, keeps me in the passion that I have for writing these books. I like people ask me questions and I get really passionate and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to I'm sorry. But that's just how much I love this. I'm not doing it for self.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the benefit of I can pay my bills. It's healing
Mm-hmm.
me every time I write a book. Each book is a healing. I'm getting to put my imagination somewhere and create. We all have math. We all have purpose. We come into this world with a math just for us. Part of my math is to create. That is what encompasses and makes me. That's
Mhm.
what is that's what's multiplying me and allowing me to move forward through my days and years. So I'm not going to let anyone subtract or decrease from that because it's
Right.
my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. Did I answer your question?
Definitely did. Definitely did.